All right. Hi, everybody. So those were the B-52s roam around the world. So I hope that everybody can gets a chance to kind of listen and hear it. And great. So I am Walter. I'm right here and just trying to figure out, making sure that you're okay and having everything coming in. So if you are listening and Nikki just joined. Thank you so much for coming in. Can you guys hear me okay? So we have a great show today, and I am going to try to figure out if this is it's working and everything good. So this is Around the World with Mr. Walter. And I'm just trying to figure out and make sure that you guys can hear me and everything is okay. Just gonna a quick confirmation, making sure that you guys are able to hear me and kind of move forward. So thank you so much for coming in and thank you for being here with me. And so today we have a great show for you guys. And so what we are doing today is it's great. Thank you. So thank you, Adam. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Mr. Ben, for being here. We have a great show today and actually taking a quick look of where we're going to be. So we are going to be roaming around the moon. So this is going to be a great show and just making sure that everything is it is moving fine. We are actually using one of the a great program, which is Google Earth, as you know. So Google Earth not only has Earth, but it also has different places in the universe. So I am really happy to hear that and to know that we'll be able to explore around the moon with Mr. Walter. So we're coming from out of space. And trying to enjoy this great day. It's a beautiful day out today, kind of nice and warm. So we're gonna be just staying around. I want to say hi to everybody who's online already. Hi, Mr. Adam. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Ben, and the rest of the New Minds crew. So. We'll get started and we'll get right along. So one of the cool things about being around the moon, and I'll move right away, is that we have an option to see all the different places where the Apollo missions have gone. So we're going to start with Apollo 11. Which was one of the first missions to the moon, and actually has one of the greatest iconic kind of elements. Is the first time that a man set foot on another planet and was able to actually move and go through. So without any further ado, we're going to head over to the moon and going to move. So the Apollo 11 landing site. So we'll be able to actually move through. But before I do that, let me just give you a quick look of where we are and get even closer to the few sections. So you see the strip right here. So this is areas that have been explored in detail. As you can see, there's lots of areas that we haven't seen, specifically different sides like the northern area of the moon, and the southern part of the moon as well. But we'll be able to actually take a quick look at the specific landing sites, and we'll be able to see close up some of the great places that we have. So I'm going to be switching back and forth with my camera since the program only allows me to show you all different things, and I want to make sure that you get a chance to see as much of the area as possible. We'll be taking a tour with NASA's official website, and we'll be getting some of the greatest elements and specific pictures that you'll be able to see. So let's go first to Apollo 11. And just let's go see the great achievement that was done at that moment in time. So as we go, we'll go straight over, and you'll see that it was launched in 1969. So so that's 30. That's almost already 90, that's 20, that's 40 plus another 20, so that's 60 years ago that you see how it was launched on July 16th and landed in the moon 4 days later. So it's 4 days of travel to the moon. So we actually kind of see it and we think it's pretty close, but really it's kind of far away, as we look. So when we have right here, we have the landing site was the Mare Tranquillus, right? And that and the Tranquillus it returned to Earth on the 21st of July in 1969. So the commander of this mission was Neil Armstrong, and we have the Michael Collins, which commanded the module pilot, as well as Edwin Buzz Aldrin, which was the lunar lunar pilot. So we see how these two elements just kind of work together, and kind of they move it through as they landed on site. So let's start with the first point, which was really interesting, which was some of the activity right before it landed. So this is called the extravehicular activity. And extravehicular activity is when the Apollo 11 in July 20th in 1969 landed in the moon, and you see how the Eagle has landed, which kind of refers to the United States going through and having Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong land on the moon. And let me take this picture off, and you'll be able to see a quick section of where the moon area was landed, and we'll take a quick tour. So most of the pre-mission was to take photographs of the different craters and then do a full survey of going from different areas. So as we go back, you'll see that we'll take a closer overview of some of the sample rocks, and as we descend even further into the landing site, and you'll be able to see very close up. So this is what's called the contingency sample. So it's after descending and coming out of the landing module. When Neil Armstrong said, it's a small step for man, but a giant leap for mankind. So one of the missions was actually to bring back rocks and bring back so we can study them, and these are all available that we all can see. So we'll go all the way down to the landing site, but this is a really interesting point which I wanted to make sure I added. So there's a plaque on the module that it kind of says something really interesting. So let me pan in and be able to tell you a little bit of what it says. It's kind of like a message for the rest of the space age, and kind of letting everybody know where we come from and actually who we are. So it's a really interesting plaque, and we'll be able to see it close by, and we'll get very close to it, and I'll read it out to you, which it's really interesting. It says, it has the picture of the world of Earth. So as we explore Earth, we'll be able to see, but this is the message that we sent out in case in right of the plaque, and it says, "Here men from the planet Earth first set foot upon the moon on July 1969 AD. We came in peace for all mankind." So amazing, how we have this little plaque that says to not only to us but whoever else was out there, that first of all, we're from the planet Earth, that we set foot upon the moon on this date, and we came in peace in the name of all mankind. So an incredible. So you see how that is right on the edge of the site. So let me pan back and kind of start looking at different places, and let's go down to the landing site, the actual place where we had the landing site. So let's go all the way down right into the area. So we can take a quick look around the surface of the moon, and we'll go and see the actual landing site, and we'll be able to see also some of the modules. So the first one, one of the greatest pictures that I think kind of highlighted all the elements here was pictures of the actual landing and pictures from the site. So we'll take all the way down to the main crater, and even in 1969 they took pictures in panoramic view. So they were able to record the full surface of the moon. You see here some of the guidelines that the photos was taken, just to make sure everything was that was even. And there we have the North American flag, and here we have a beautiful picture, right, of the landing, the section of the landing module. This section up here was reconstructed because to kind of fill the picture, but you can see right here, as this is a picture that was taken in 1969. Imagine that, from the surface of the moon in panoramic view of the full this full area, and you can see the footprints that were left, and you can see also the craters that all the moon section and the cross section, this arid place, and you see the horizon, how the moon's if you see the kind of emptying space from back and forth. So see Apollo 11 full picture in panoramic view, and here you see some of the shadows from when the picture was taken, and again full color view of great pictures from Apollo 11. All right, so let's kind of do right back and let's exit this photo, and we'll be able to see not only the double crater, but was also all the kind of extravehicular activities that was done in this moment. So yeah, incredible places, incredible way of how this kind of moves along. And you see how they set up a TV camera. You see how they set up the view from the lunar module. You see how the lunar module is straight, and all the pictures that we have, and you can see what the project was done, right? They kind of moved into a little west crater and then came right back, took additional samples, moved to this other crater, and then came back. So these Apollo 11, and this is what they did. And even though it seems to be a small section, they definitely will be able to see how that was done. So here's the view from the lunar module that we're just looking at. Let's take another picture from the other side. A picture of the landing site plus the flag. I think. Oh yeah, this is the one that we're just watching, or we just saw. So let's go back out and let's look at some of the other pictures that the astronauts took. So this is from the other side of the crater. So we'll have the double crater, and then we will go, and this one takes a full picture of the lunar module. So this one takes, you see now how the extracurricular or extravehicular activity was done, so they can actually take some of the samples, take some of the rocks, and you see how incredible the whole area, you know, is kind of flat and against the backdrop of space, and how dusty and kind of alien looking seems this whole section. So it's really interesting because the astronauts actually were able to do some of these activities to actually prepare to the moon in very arid places like Arizona and in the desert. So even before they actually were able to be within the suits and actually kind of look and walk around. So as we move forward looking through the section, let me pan around and keep looking at some of these places. Now, mind you, you know, and say, oh, you know, doesn't seem to be that much of a big deal. Well, this was in 1969, guys. I mean, this is a really interesting element that it shows the achievement of mankind up to that point. So let me exit out of this section and move closer to see some other of the walkthrough. We'll go to the view from the north side and the flag, right? You'll see here the TV camera, right? So you know you get to see that the TV camera was mounted on the full edge to record all the elements of of the landing, plus anything else that we can pick up. So wasn't only just the production of just getting there and take pictures, but setting up everything so we can have a communication back with Houston. So one of the points which is kind of interesting is the deployment during this activity and the EVA, which is the extravehicular activity, was setting up a solar wind collector. So this, what it does is consistent of a pole supporting 4,000 square centimeters sheet of aluminum foil that was positioned, and it was faced towards the sun, and it was exposed for 77 minutes. So this experiment that they did was consistent that wanted to measure the helium ions and all the rest of the impact of that the sun has on the moon, since there's no protective atmospheric shield. So as part of the journal, you see right here, how they're just a little kind of set up so they can capture and measure the sun's impact on the moon. So this had great significance by that time, that significance such as where we'll be able to use solar power on the moon, where we'll be able to actually use all these elements on that we now know and take for granted. A lot of the technology that we have today, will we be able to use it on the moon? And if that, it's also feasible for future explorations. I want to see if this works. I was trying to just see if we had a little bit of the videos that come along. So we'll see if this content is available. So this comes from NASA, and this is Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin that are starting to raise the flag on the moon. I'm not sure if the video is actually coming through, but all right, we'll see if we can do it. But at the end, what happens is they go in and they actually took a video of them raising the flag and then kind of jumping around on the moon's gravity and kind of hoisting up the flag. All right, so as we move out, we'll go even closer to the double crater, and let's see if I think we've done all 3 or 4 pictures. straight from it, and we'll go to the bulk samples, right? So all the samples that they were taken from the moon, so this is some of the elements, and see how the moon landing structure had these plates. Since we really didn't know, how dense that would be, and if it was just a layer of it was going to layer of rock, or it was going to be a layer of dust. So since we didn't know how thick that was, the lunar module, they would design these plates on the bottom so it would support the full structure and kind of weigh down whatever that was. So fortunately, not only they discovered that the amount of dust in the debris, it was just about 6 inches high, but also we were able to actually walk around in the moon and then take some of the samples. So it was an interesting place here, how there was also covered with a thin aluminum foil that would reflect the sun's beams as the lunar module was there. So you can see a close-up of all these elements. So as we kind of keep walking, let's take another look at the lunar module, and as you can see, you have you have the full detail. So imagine these pictures coming in 1969 and showing everything that has, and I know that some of you might be saying, wow, this looks very very haphazard, right? Haphazardly done at that moment, but no, absolutely, there was a great amount of care to make sure that not only it was as light as possible, but also as strong as possible, and also that we were able to not only set it, be able to load it, and then from this section and this bottom area, the top of the lunar module could be launched up again. Right, so it's an incredible feat to have been done, in way back in 1969. So as we exit this the lunar module, we'll go on another one of the core samples, and we'll kind of see some of the other aspects of the moon, as this full section. So Apollo 11, it went all the way up to Apollo 17, and these are the Apollo missions that actually landed on the moon. So you might ask, oh, what happened to Apollo 13? Apollo 13, which is a great movie to watch of that endeavor, it did not land on the moon. It got really close, but these are the ones that the actual expeditions that were taken from. It took 4 days to get here, and then a great schedule of time to be able to do all the experiments and then kind of move. So let me pan out and show you what that small little section of the moon, and that's where Apollo 11 actually landed. So as we pan out and we keep seeing the section, right, and see how the surveyor took a very close look of where that was going to be, and we'll just move way back. So you see that is where Apollo 11 was done, and let me place the rest of all the rest of the Apollo landings, right? So right here there's Apollo 11. Right here is the Apollo 16. Then we have on the other side, we have the rest of the Apollo missions, right? So this is Apollo 15. Apollo 14, I think, is just down a ways a little bit, but that's Apollo 17 straight here, right? And as you can see, we've been able to start mapping quite a bit of the surface. Obviously, not in detail that we have the Earth, but definitely, an incredible element of being able to do and kind of move. So as we explore, let's go to the second Apollo landing, right? So Apollo 12. So as Apollo 12, this was done in 1969. So a few years after the Apollo 11, it went right back up to the moon to take not only and pinpoint the greater EVA, and we'll be able to see, some of the great things that not only did we learn from Apollo 11, but also that we improved. So as you can see, the expedition took all the way through, and some additional high images of Apollo 12 coming back and just kind of walking on the surface of the moon. And this is still 1969, so it is an incredible feat to be able to move through. So as you can see, the expedition took a lot more in terms of the area surveyed. The not only the craters, but also the rest. And you see how the moon is pelted and has craters all over. And the reason it has craters because just the meteor impact. And you might say, well, what happened to us? Well, what happens is that our atmosphere protects us from most of the meteors. And as they come in, they definitely start to burn up in the atmosphere because of all the drag that has against the air, and just kind of dissipates. But the moon doesn't have that, so it gets pelted and pelted again with asteroids. So this is actually one of our kind of key protectors here in the universe, as the moon takes the hit for us, and we can see some of the impacts that have happened from time to time. So let's get down all the way to the Apollo 12's landing, and you can see the landing module. There we go. So the landing module, and we'll just take a view from the landing module and take a picture from the surface of the moon, and see that picture is right. Oh, it's a little bright. As the sun was coming in, but you can see again the landing module. You can see the main craters, and the reason why we study craters is because we want to be able to take samples from different places on the surface. So we want to take samples from the surface. We want to take sample deeper, and then we can judge how old the moon is, how the rock formations kind of build up, what is the consistency and what is made out of, and in that we can study different samples as the years have gone by on the moon. So let's get back and take a quick look around as well. Not only the shadows. This one has the sun in front. So let's take a quick look at the other pictures, and let's see let's take it from the other side. There it is. So a picture from the southeast. So you see incredible how the sun just kind of it starts pelting the moon, but we have the lunar module now. You see how now, as we come back, we actually set up a communications tower, and this communications tower permits us from being in ongoing contact with Houston and with the rest of the world. So one of the first things that I think that we learned from Apollo 11 was that our communication system had to be much stronger. Not to have that delay in terms of communication, so we can actually move through. So you can see how the infrastructure was done to make sure that some of the key elements were done. You can see the flag over there, and you also see some of the other elements, such as the videos and the communication systems that we see in order to actually take some of the samples. All right, so we are right at the edge of Apollo 12, and we saw some of the great activities. So let's see some of our astronauts taking samples. So let's go all the way up to one of the nearby craters, and you can see some of the astronauts, fully at work. Here you go. Some of the astronauts already, and you see them with kind of installing all the equipment, taking it out, as well as you see the forward-mounted camera. So in 1969, we already had forward-mounted cameras that the astronauts can walk in, and you can actually see how they kind of start doing all the work. Not only will they be able to see, and you see the protective shield against the sun's rays that they have right in their helmets, but also not only installing all the equipment, but be able to be coached by a team from Houston and from the other command centers, so they can actually do their experiments, right? Everything that you see in movies nowadays is actually true how they saw it. So amazing how in 1969 they were able to not only do this, communicate from another planet, and be able to run some of the really cool experiments. So let's go back and take a quick look at the rest of the area that we have. And yeah, you see some additional craters and some of the additional areas that they had. So as we move out, let's take another quick look at the other, the farthest points of the actual excursions. And we'll go to some of the other points in which the excursion was done. So here we go. So at the Surveyor crater, which was with the principal area where the astronauts were going to be focusing on, we can see some of the pictures of setting up the solar energy panels. So in 1969, again, we have the astronauts, and you see the communication systems way in the back with the lunar module. But also you can see right away that they were working on not only taking all the samples, but you can see some of the sun's energy panels. So this was technology. It didn't come to the rest of us years, in the making, years later. But in 1969, you can always see that they were being used in the surface of the moon. And one of the cool things that I really like about it, that we learned from Apollo 11, was that the vehicles and how they were going to be designed, not only were they need to be lightweight, not only do they will have to do this dune buggy type of structure, but also that the landing sections or the landing plates could be just as wheels. So these can be set up, churned around, and you'll be able to see that they were also useful. So every little detail to go back was part of the learning cycle from Apollo 11. So let's take one quick look at the as we leave Apollo 11. And you see, some of the astronauts kind of toasting after they're finished, and you see in the camera view you have the other astronaut as well. So they're kind of toasting and enjoying that they're finished their excursion. They're finished the experiments that they had. The mission was not only a success, being able to land and explore, and after that they were able to just kind of give a thumbs up and fly right back home. So incredible, how the obviously they would have to drink and take all those samples back, but it was a fun little picture that I thought I'd share with you. So as we kind of move out from Surveyor 3 1967 Apollo 12, you see where in the surface of the moon we are. So an incredible kind of area and an incredible place to be. One of the most iconic places in our universe, and yeah, I think it is a great place to kind of keep it exploring little by little. So we're going to have Apollo 11, Apollo 12, and then further, as we explore the universe and explore the world with Mr. Walter, we'll be able to kind of just keep on exploring and seeing the Apollo 12 mission, 15, and the 16 and 17. So we'll take guided tours through different places, and we'll start with the moon, which is very close, but then we'll go to Mars. We'll go to the outer reaches of space and the nebula, just like Mr. Ben was doing yesterday, building your own nebula, and we'll be able to actually head out into space. So that's one of the things that I wanted to show you before, kind of we take this tour. If you see in the back, and I'll try to see, as we turn the moon around, you can see that there is, the vantage point of the rest of the Milky Way right in the back. So I think that's a great picture, just kind of seeing the moon in the middle, and you see the Milky Way right in the back. So it's we'll be able to kind of take a quick look, and as you can see, all the dust and all the nebulas that are right in the back. So let's turn right back out, and we'll be able to explore some of these areas using some of the imagery from the Hubble Space Telescope, and we'll be there. So quick questions that everybody asks me is, how about the dark side of the moon? There's areas that we have flown over as we've done. So there's different places in the dark side of the moon that we can explore. We'll be able to actually move past some of the bigger craters and bigger impacts, the northern areas in which some of the experiments trying to figure out if there's water, plus some of the deeper sections of the moon as we explore each one of the different Apollo missions, going from our vantage point here on Earth. So as we finish off, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being here in the New Minds channel. Remember that if you do something long enough and it's your passion, it becomes you become an expert. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you comment on the chats. Thank you, Mr. Adam. Thank you, Nikki, Janet, and all the rest of the crew of New Minds Enrichment. And we will be seeing you soon. Please join in to Mr. Dorian, who's coming up with the steam train, and later with Mr. Ben, who's going to do from the New Minds Vault. And we'll do some great activities. I am Mr. Walter, and I'm going to be taking you around the world, and also I'll be taking you around the universe as we expand our New Minds portfolio, not only to include our Earth, but also to include other places in the universe. So a quick area right here from the moon, and I'm just gonna put some music and just kind of fly around just to enjoy the vantage point of what NASA has brought to us, and have some fun enjoying different places here.